Dave, on the goalie interference challenge, was it specifically the first hit you were looking at them to review, the second hit on him, and what exactly did they tell you?
Yeah, I don't want to get in. I guess I don't want to get into my specifics. Obviously challenged it because I felt like it was goaltender interference. They deemed it was not. So that's the call that was made. So I didn't get an explanation on why it was a good goal. And I can go through the theories as to as to how it was broken down. But I just felt like Gruby got blown out of the crease, and regardless of the amount of time in between, to be able to reset was impossible because he got blown too far out of the crease on that play.
The rest.
So in my opinion, there's really something wrong there, right? And that's the way I evaluate it. I don't look for something that's close or splitting hairs on it. I felt like that was, Gruby did not have a chance to do his job on that play. And as I look at it, never really got reset. So, but it is what it is. Those calls are made, and they happen all the time. Go ahead and ask your follow-up.
You had 10 shots on goal the first two periods.
Yeah, not good enough. First period. We righted the ship a little bit as we got into the latter part of the period. But in reality, kind of indicative of our first period really was the minute of power play time that we had. Right, that ends up instead of turning the game in our favor, whether you score or not on that power play, being able to continue to build some momentum and push the right direction. We're sloppy on the power play, ends up in a 4-on-4 going back to a power play the other way, and that's that ends up being the first goal against of the game. So that's a little bit indicative of our first period. Second period, we were just late to everything. I mean, we were a step behind in terms of getting there offensively, forecheck wise, and on the flip side, defensively, we were late getting there.
Dave, you just actually kind of touched on my question. That transition between the 4-on-4 and then the Ben goal can you kind of describe what went on or what you're hoping to see there?
Well, number one, we had possession of the puck as it came to a close. We had the right guys, out there, but we gave them the puck, and they started with it, and obviously coming into the zone, we just didn't we didn't defend it the right way coming in. The shot is from a spot where he gets in, pulls and shoots, and ends up shooting basically through a screen of our own defenseman.
Do you prefer not giving up puck possession there?
Well, you'd prefer that, obviously, yeah.
But
you have an opportunity potentially, and it's really easy to say from watching, from upstairs or watching on video. It's real easy to say that there's a better play to be had there, but in reality, we'd like to be able to probably hold on to that puck a little longer, start the PK with it, and start with a clear.
From your vantage point, Dave, what do you see that Miro Heiskanen brings to the ice, and how much he does for Dallas?
Well, he plays a ton of minutes. He's, all the things have been, all the right things have been said about his game. I don't have anything new to add. He's a hell of a player, and you see that night in and night out.
Dave, we've talked about this 100 times over the last 2 years, but your team didn't quit there in the third period. You're down 5-1. You make a game out of it in the end. What does that say about your club, and how does that set you up going into the next game?
Well, it's a tough spot to be in going into the third period, especially giving up. We get a little life with the fourth one, and then we give up one late to go down to a four-goal deficit again. So that's a pretty tough spot. Couple things at play. You never know what can happen. We feel pretty confident that we can score 4 goals in a period, and we had a little bit of that feel different times during the third period where we had some momentum and some opportunities. Reality is that's a pretty deep hole against a good hockey team going into the third period, but every period matters. It's a 7-game series. It's game number 4. It's 2-2 right now, and every shift, every play, every period matters.
Did you like what you saw from Jared McCann in his return tonight?
Yeah, I thought it's tough jumping in after 2 weeks into the pace of the game tonight and the intensity of the game. So, I'll be interested to talk to Jared. I'm sure things were happening, fairly quick around him early in this game. From my vantage point, I thought things slowed down a little bit for him as the game went on, and that's what you would hope for and expect. Obviously we'd love a different result. The first one-timer that he had from the slot on his first shift, it'd be a little bit too good to be true for that one to go in, right? It's not really the way it works. So at the end of the day, I thought he worked his way into this game. I thought his pace and his confidence got better and better throughout the game.
Hey, Dave, Jaden said he just didn't feel like you guys got to your game until the third period. What did you kind of think switched over for you guys in the final frame to kind of put the pushback that you did together, and can you carry that forward from what you saw?
Yeah, one of the big things was Schwartzy's drive. I mean, he was one of the guys that if you go back and watch the second, he had it. He raised his level. So that's a big part of it. I saw our guys feed off of that, follow his lead a little bit, and it doesn't take a lot to pull momentum. It's hard to continue to drive that momentum, but a shift where there's an extra effort play, where a guy goes out and, shows that, his will is a little bit above his opponents, that has a way of building and shifting momentum. I thought Schwartzy had that tonight. We're going to need a whole lot more of that, going into Game 5 and going into a 3-game series.
All right, thanks, Coach. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.